Time. You want to just give me a little mic level, just talk into it a little bit?
Okay, glad to be here, guys. How does that work for you?
That's good.
It was very Bob and
Just
Doug.
right.
What?
It was very Bob and Doug sounding.
Bob and
Okay, so we're glad to be here, okay?
Doug? I sounded like I'm from Wisconsin
or
Canada.
Iowa.
Or Canada?
All right.
Okay, Canada.
Welcome back to the Great White North then, eh? All right. Okay, let's see. I'm going to roll this and we're ready to go. It's Scott and Mike, the Mighty Mo Morning Show. Time now for the Montana Spotlight.
Brought to you by PureView Health Center, working hard to make healthcare easy. Become a PureView patient. You will have access to perks like walk-in appointments and a discounted pharmacy. Becoming a patient is easy. Just call 406-457-0000. PureView Health Center. Fresh look at health.
Our Montana Spotlight today, we are talking beer. And not just talking beer. We're going to talk a little bit about our pint night with Scott and Mike at Crooked Furrow Brewing coming up tomorrow night from 5 to 8 p.m. And to talk especially about the beer at Crooked Furrow, we have the head brew guy. Did we decide on a title?
I think head
brewer. We
brewer.
were discussing head brewer.
You're just adding words.
Well, he didn't
Head
want the
brewer
brew master.
person in charge.
He didn't want
of
brew
things.
guru.
You got to be careful with pronouns.
Head brewer works for me.
Head brewer.
2019. We don't want to gender anything.
Yeah, Nick Diehl's here to
trouble.
talk beer with us. And thanks for coming in, first of all.
Well, thanks for having me.
We're excited about the beer. We're excited about the night. And people get to try new beer. So we got to tell you about the new, because anybody who's been listening to the show is like, what? New beer?
Right.
There's going to be barrel-aged beer at Crooked Furrow. So you've got two of those.
Yeah, no, these are a couple of beers that are near and dear to me and the other co-founders' heart. They're beers that we did on a homebrew scale. And so trying to ramp them up, trying to get them big enough and do them the way that we did them on a homebrew scale was a bit of a challenge, but we wanted to undertake it. And so we're really happy to bring them to you guys.
How nervous do you get when you're gonna introduce something new? Because I know how hard you've been working on these. We've got the video up on the Facebook page. We had a chance to sample them, and they both came off really, really good. But I mean, how much breath holding is there when you first hit that tap handle, see what you got?
Well, I mean, along the process, you're constantly checking things and making sure that everything's going the way it is. So by the time it hits the tap handles, I have a pretty good idea of what it's going to be. But yeah, at the same time, that is a piece of you that people are drinking. It's a representation of your hard work. So to have it be exactly the way you intended and what you wanted is super important. And so, yeah, there is a little level of nervousness there.
You've taken a little step at Crooked Furrow because we've been along, we were one of the early customers.
Literally on day one.
And one of the questions we had for you right off the bat was, why are you not naming the beers yet? But with these ones, they do have names. And to me, you went into kind of some sacred ground. So you went into the Big Lebowski territory, which has been touched on before by other brewers. But to do that, it better be good. You better bring it when you got a Big Lebowski name. So tell us about the first one with the Big Lebowski name.
Well, we just think it's great, but that's our opinion, man. No, it's just we wanted to differentiate these beers from some of the other ones. And so most of the time, naming, until we get them dialed in and these are exactly the beers that we want, we wanted to abstain from naming them just because if we tweak them a little bit, someone will be like, well, this isn't such and such. But with these beers, first off, we feel like we kind of hit what we were aiming for right out the gate. And second, it helps people that, hey, I've had the dude, down at Crooked Furrow. So we felt it was important.
And they named it the dude. Went right for the top. Because there's been like a nice marmot, right? Kind of the fringe of the Big Lebowski area, and you went straight for the top.
No. We felt like it is a good representation of what it is. Plus, I mean, it has like some kind of creamy vanilla notes and stuff like that. So we felt like it played in well with what the dude represents.
It can't be worse. It can't be worse than what the dude is actually drinking, according to the Super Bowl.
Yes,
looking at you, Stella. No, you're already off to a better start than the actual dude. I was so angry when I saw that spot.
Yeah, you and everybody else.
Yeah.
The dude went one way, and then the name the dude went another because this beer is really good.
Yeah, I mean, it's got two different barrels, so a lot of barrel aging is in the blending. It's in the ability to combine the flavors that you're trying to get from each barrel. And, one of them is a Woodford Reserve barrel, and the other one is a Stranahan's small batch whiskey barrel. And each of them bring their own flavor to the party, and then you kind of blend it with a new one so that you still represent the beer. You know, I'm not trying to sell the barrel. I'm trying to sell my beer. I don't want the barrel to overpower my beer. So that's
the beer's just an ingredient, basically.
yeah. It should be the main player, but so that's
I meant the barrel is what I meant actually.
Yeah.
I twisted that around.
The barrel or the beer is the main player.
Right.
So we're just trying to hit that sweet spot of still representing all the pieces, but having the beer be the main player.
Talking to head brewer Nick Diehl, getting you ready for Scott and Mike's Pint Night coming up at Crooked Furrow. A couple of beers debuting for the first time there. What about the other one? This one's got me. I'm not a super hophead. I hear double IPA. I'm kind of okay. This one you kind of had some fun with.
Yeah. So Old Ginny is a double IPA, but I know a lot of people that are like you. They're
Right.
not super IPA. They don't like bitterness, don't like hops, that really like
Well, they're
this
really
beer.
hard to find.
Yeah.
It's hard to find an IPA these days.
Well,
Oh,
it's
they're
hard to find-
everywhere.
Yeah.
Well, it's hard to
Yeah.
find a barrel-aged IPA.
Yeah, it's
so
hard
that's-
to find one that stands out, and this one does.
Yeah. So this is in a gin barrel and a rye whiskey barrel. And the rye adds the barrel complexity, because if you do just the gin barrel, you just get kind of some wood and some gin, and it can really be not great. But the rye adds the barrel age complexity to it. And then we blend it with new IPA that's been just insanely dry hops. So you still get all the hop notes there, but you have all the barrel notes that go along with it. And it's not crazy bitter. But
Well, both of these beers will live up to anybody's expectations. They are fantastic, and the double IPA. I will usually go to a beer menu and not pick an IPA, and the reason is because most of them to me are not interesting. If you have something interesting like this, if I saw this on the menu, I would absolutely order it because it's interesting. It's got something different to it. Double IPA that's barrel aged, and it would live up to it. Mike and I both agree. These beers were both fantastic.
Yeah, they really kind of stood out as something new. It's tough to be new and good sometimes because you can try something that has got some very distinctive, but if you offend somebody's palate, like, I don't know, this doesn't taste like everything else, you run into trouble. The one thing that comes through here, hands down, is that it's a lot less complicated to drink your beers than it is to make them. Listening to this process, I'm going cross-eyed thinking about all of the things that you had to go through to get these things from your brain to the tap handle.
yeah, I mean, this started back. Well, I think in August we were looking to source barrels, and we tried to source Montana, but I was having trouble getting the specific types of barrels I wanted, so we ended up having to go out of state. But brewing in end August, beginning of October, and then it went into the barrels end October, beginning November, and they've been sitting there patiently waiting, and then sat down and blended all the components together. Couple weeks ago with the founders, we came up with a blend that we liked, and then they're being carbonated, getting ready to be put in kegs, so
Can't wait.
so we can drink them on Thursday.
Can't wait.
Crooked Furrow has something for everybody over there. So if you're not this deep into the craft beer stuff, you're going to find something you love over there. The Mexican lager sells like crazy. You guys got a lot of beers that everybody's going to love. And this is the end of the nerdy beer talk portion of the program. Let's talk about having some fun Thursday night. This is going to be a blast. We are so looking forward to coming out there and inviting the Mighty Mo Nation, all the people who listen in the morning who say, when can we have a beer with you guys? And we're going to do it at Crooked Furrow.
We're glad to have you. I mean, we'd love to have people down there. Yeah, we pride ourselves in having something for everyone. I can't tell you how many times I've been to Brewfest the last few months since we opened, and there's always that person that's get drugged to the Brewfest, and they're not really a beer fan.
Yeah.
And our Mexican lager, they come up and say, this is the only beer here I can drink, because they like it that
Right.
much. And so it definitely, we feel like our beers kind of do span the spectrum of beer drinkers.
Well, the New England Pale is my best. It's my favorite beer in the state, so I will be having one of those as well.
The other thing is, if
tomorrow
you've
night.
never been to Crooked Furrow, you got to check out the room, because that was the other thing that came through from day one, is that you guys really spent some time trying to create a cool space. No matter what you're into, it's a great hang, and there's a chance that it won't be 27 below on Thursday. We might even be able to start a fire in the back. I don't know.
I'm loving my new job, because I was a farmer for 20 years before this, and I would be out in this feeding cows or doing whatever.
Yeah.
And so it is nice. This is the first year that I can remember that I don't have to be outside in this working. So I'm loving it.
Nick, thanks for coming in this morning. We appreciate it.
Well, thanks for having me.
We will see you tomorrow night,
Oh,
and
man.
we're ready. I'm ready for the pint night with Scott and Mike at Crooked Furrow Brewing.
May stop by and warm up a little later today.
Yeah, 5 to 8 p.m. tomorrow night. You're invited. Join us there. That's your Montana Spotlight brought to you by PureView, 107 The Mighty Mo.
Awesome. Painless.
Yeah.
Jim can do it. I've seen it. I am it.
Well, that's brewing. I think I said, I could train a chimp to do it. It's all the other stuff that's difficult.
The funny thing it's the same thing that keeps me doing barbecue and not baking, is I can't stick to the regimen.
Mm-hmm.
I want to mess with it.
Yeah.
I've got my basic barbecue sauce, and then the first thing I did when I got here, I'm like, okay, I need a Montana version. Mm-hmm. So I busted out some mule kick and some huckleberry and some other things. I'm like, mess with it. And nope, a little bit more. And you just can't do that in a process like this. It's chemistry.
Yeah, I have to, when I was on a homebrew scale, it didn't matter. Now I have to be disciplined in what I'm doing, because that's part of what, like that story as old as time, homebrewer opens up brewery.
Sure.
In some ways, some homebrewers are better at brewing because they have experimented so much. They understand what they're doing and why they're doing what they're doing. Mm-hmm. Whereas somebody who worked at a fairly large brewery, let's say Big Sky or something like that, they've been taught to hit set points and to they know nothing about
somebody
recipe creation. They brewed the recipes that were in front of them, and unless they have a program that allows them to do that, a lot of times some of those guys they get into their own brewery and they really fail because they don't understand why they're doing what they're doing, because they haven't experimented or whatever. They just they made this beer this way and they hit these numbers and it ferments this long. And
that was the frustrating thing for me, because when I first started, first you get the 5-gallon bucket kit.